Please remember that without facts or evidence, it's not fair to make assumptions out of respect to those involved or affected. The following video may show disturbing footage that may affect some viewers, and discretion is advised. We will be covering the Air India 787 event in Ahmedabad, India on the 12th of June 2025. We like to focus on the facts and avoid conjecture, so there are a few points we would like to make while we eagerly wait for the investigation to provide more information. Since each aircraft is different in the way they are built and how they operate, it can help us understand how they behave. The first point to note is the footage taken of the Air India flight from the window. When you watch a 787-8 model takeoff, particularly the landing gear, you can notice that the entire main landing gear bogie tilts as it prepares to be lifted into the belly of the aircraft. Take a look one more time in slower motion. The gears pulled up into the main landing gear wheel well. On the incident aircraft footage, you can see that this process was started, most likely by selecting the gear up. The landing gear tilting without a pilot selecting the gear up would itself be alarming. For a takeoff to be continued beyond the V1 decision speed and then later suffer a performance loss may possibly be the cause of a quite simple but catastrophic occurrence. For example, a Boeing 777 experienced a dual engine failure on short final to London Heathrow after ice crystals suspended within fuel from both tanks caused both engines to roll back. It was as a result of both engine fuel filters becoming blocked with ice. A second possible clue is this photo. There is a small flap on the right side of the Boeing 787's tail, similar to the Boeing 777. This flap opens when the APU, or auxiliary power unit, is needed, either manually or automatically. Since the Boeing 787 doesn't use bleed air from the engines for air conditioning and pressurization, and the temperature at Ahmedabad at the time of the incident was 37 degrees, it is likely the APU was not running during takeoff. After pilots no longer require the APU, it is switched off, and after an automatic cool-down period, shut down with the APU flap closing automatically. Putting it simply, aircraft performance is slowly reduced as it becomes hotter in temperature, eventually reaching a limit weight for takeoff. As shown here on the Boeing 777 bleed air system schematic, air from the APU is used to run a single air conditioning pack. This allows passengers to keep cool whilst the engine bleed air valves keep closed. This means the aircraft produces more thrust during takeoff, which can mean carrying more fuel, passengers, or cargo on a longer flight. Since the Boeing 787 was designed to be as light as possible, it dealt away with bleed air altogether, only relying on electric power to run air conditioning. A question, therefore, that must be answered is, why is this door open at all? Whether or not this image shows the door to be partially open as a result of the impact is an additional factor that may potentially indicate that the aircraft systems automatically started the APU. The first thing a pilot learns during training is power plus attitude equals performance. It simply means that with enough power and the correct angle of attack after takeoff, an aircraft will climb away without issue. The Air India aircraft's lack of climb performance, so shortly after continuing the takeoff at the V1 decision speed, means that the engines simply weren't producing enough thrust. Many sources have stated the flaps were retracted early. However, it is our opinion that this is too generalized to assume so soon. Most Boeing 787 aircraft utilize flap 5 for takeoff on flights less than 10 hours long, a very low flap setting that is almost impossible to distinguish based on the low video quality evidence. Take a look at the difference between a clear photo and grainy one. At the end of the day, despite the many theories on YouTube today, the landing gear should have retracted if the aircraft had power. Why was the APU door found open? These are both critical points that we hope to learn more about in the coming days and weeks. As we learn more from the investigation, we look forward to bringing you answers. Thanks for watching.